Reality TV is built on drama, tension, and secrets that always seem to surface when you least expect them. But every once in a while, a revelation comes along that doesn't just shake one storyline, it rattles the entire fan base. Today, we're diving into one of those revelations, a story involving none other than Phaedra Parks, the sharp-tongued, unapologetic queen of timing and shade, who recently dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming. This revelation didn't simply redirect attention, it reshaped entire narratives surrounding Kandi Burruss, her mother, and Todd Tucker. And what's most surprising? Todd, long seen as the calm constant in Kandi's life, has now emerged as the unexpected victim in this emotional whirlwind. You might be wondering, did Phaedra really spill long-hidden truths? Or is this just another twist in the endless labyrinth of Real Housewives drama? Well, buckle up, because today we're breaking down every layer, the history, the tension, the fallout, and the ripple effects still shaking the fandom. By the time we reach the end of this deep dive, you'll be questioning motives, loyalties, and the unseen dynamics that reality TV cameras rarely catch. To understand the magnitude of Phaedra Parks' revelation, we need to revisit who Phaedra really is in the world of reality TV. Phaedra has always been one of the most fascinating figures on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. A successful attorney by trade and a charismatic personality on screen, she built her brand on confidence, intelligence, and the unique ability to stir the pot without ever appearing to break a sweat. Throughout her years on the show, Phaedra became synonymous with iconic reads, bold claims, and perfectly timed commentary that could shift the entire energy of a season with just a few sentences. When Phaedra speaks, fans listen, not just because she's entertaining, but because she has a reputation for dropping information that feels both shocking and oddly calculated. Over the years, she's played central roles in some of the show's most unforgettable storylines. But even with her long history of stirring conversation, nobody anticipated the revelation she recently made concerning Kandi Burruss, and more surprisingly, Todd Tucker. It wasn't just a casual comment or a subtle hint. It was a revelation that immediately changed how fans viewed multiple cast members. Kandi Burruss has always been one of the most respected figures in the Real Housewives franchise. With a Grammy-winning musical background, successful businesses, and a strong public image, Kandi has consistently shown viewers that she is both driven and grounded. She portrays strength, grace, and a kind of level-headedness that often makes her the voice of reason amidst chaos. But like all reality TV stars, Kandi's personal life hasn't been without complications, especially when it comes to her family dynamics, which have periodically surfaced on the show. Her mother, known for her protective nature and fierce loyalty, has never been heavily involved in the public drama. She has made appearances, yes, but rarely has she been at the center of a major storyline. That changed when Phaedra's comments thrust her into the spotlight, suggesting that there were deeper emotional layers and hidden tensions that viewers had never fully understood. Phaedra indicated that Kandi's mother played a far more influential role behind the scenes than fans realized, particularly when it came to shaping certain emotional or relational dynamics within the family. Then there's Todd Tucker, Kandi's husband, who has long been characterized as her supportive partner. Todd has often been shown as a level-headed presence, someone who prefers staying out of drama rather than stirring it. But reality TV has a way of pulling even the quiet ones into the storm. Throughout their time together on the show, Todd has dealt with judgment, skepticism, and even accusations from fans and castmates who questioned his motives, his personality, and his place in Kandi's life. Yet through all of that, Todd remained relatively calm, rarely losing his cool and frequently stepping into the role of mediator or peacekeeper. This is why Phaedra's recent revelation hit so hard, because it shifted Todd from a background figure to the emotional center of the storm. Phaedra didn't sit down and read off a list of accusations. Instead, she did something far more powerful. She implied deeper truths. She hinted that long-standing misunderstandings and emotional challenges within Kandi's family were far more complicated than what viewers had been led to believe. She spoke about subtle tensions and unspoken issues that, according to her, had shaped Kandi's life and her marriage in profound ways. Most importantly, Phaedra suggested that Todd Tucker had been navigating these dynamics quietly, often without acknowledgement. She painted him not as an instigator, but as someone who had endured emotional struggles behind the scenes, struggles that didn't make it onto the show, but had real consequences.
This instantly reframed Todd's entire storyline. For years, fans had debated whether Todd was contributing enough, whether he was truly respected in the family, and whether he felt supported. But now, Phaedra's comments pushed a new narrative. Todd as the silent victim, trying to maintain stability while being caught in conflicts he never created. Phaedra's tone, her confidence, and the way she presented the information made it clear that she was not simply gossiping. She believed she was revealing truths that had been overlooked for far too long. Within minutes of Phaedra's comments circulating online, social media ignited. Fans flooded Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube with reactions ranging from disbelief to outrage to sympathy. Some people praised Phaedra for finally saying what they believed had been obvious for years. Others criticized her, accusing her of reopening old wounds and bringing private family issues into the spotlight for attention. But the biggest shift was the instant wave of support for Todd Tucker. Fans who previously saw him as a quiet, secondary character suddenly viewed him as someone who had likely been dealing with emotional strain for years. Memes, commentary videos, and fan threads appeared everywhere, portraying Todd as the man who had shouldered conflicts that weren't his to begin with. His calm demeanor, once seen as simply laid back, was now interpreted as the resilience of someone coping with constant scrutiny and subtle pressure. And then came the endless analysis of Kandi's expressions. Fans dissected interviews and clips, debating what she knew, what she felt, and what she might have been hiding. Every raised eyebrow or slight shift in tone was treated as a clue. The speculation was unstoppable, and it only grew more intense by the hour. Phaedra's revelation didn't drop in a vacuum. It came on the heels of several dramatic episodes in the Real Housewives franchise, moments already filled with tension and emotional strain. This made the timing feel almost too perfect. Some viewers believed Phaedra intentionally chose this moment in order to amplify her impact. Others argued that she simply felt compelled to speak up after watching events unfold. Whether strategic or coincidental, the timing turned her statement into a catalyst. Suddenly, every small interaction between Kandi and Todd was analyzed under a microscope. YouTubers released breakdowns, podcasts debated motives, and gossip sites published articles framing the revelation as one of the biggest turning points in recent Housewives history. This revelation didn't just spark drama, it fundamentally changed how viewers approached the entire narrative surrounding the Burruss-Tucker family. Many fans found themselves sympathizing with Todd more than ever before. They imagined the emotional toll of being married into a family that has its own internal complexities, all while living life on camera. Kandi's reaction was equally impactful. Her grace under pressure, her measured responses, and her refusal to publicly lash out became talking points across multiple platforms. Some viewed her composure as a sign of strength. Others believed she was suppressing deeper emotions. Meanwhile, Phaedra's role became even more polarizing. Some celebrated her as the truth teller who finally shed light on long-hidden issues. Others condemned her approach, claiming she reignited old conflicts for dramatic effect. Regardless of opinion, one thing became clear. Phaedra still had the power to reshape storylines even years after her peak presence on the show. However, Kandi revealed recently, when talking to Danielle, she was asked a simple question: how is your mother and Todd getting along? You'd expect a basic answer, maybe something like, they're okay. But Kandi told the truth, and that truth said everything. She explained that things between Todd and Mama Joyce seem fine temporarily, but it never lasts. For example, she shared that the Friday before everything went downhill, everyone was getting along surprisingly well. They had just celebrated Ace and Blaze graduating from school, spirits were high, and for a moment, it actually looked like harmony was possible. But the second Kandi returned from her trip, the atmosphere had changed again. Mama Joyce was back to not feeling Todd, not feeling Kandi, and making her disappointment known without saying a single word. Kandi honestly confessed that she didn't know what else to do to fix the situation, but she was going to keep trying because that's who she is. Someone who tries to hold her family together even when it feels like she's pulling on two ropes headed in two different directions. And if you know Mama Joyce, then you weren't shocked when she added that dramatic but classic declaration, basically saying nothing, no river, no desert, no ocean, could ever keep her from stepping in when she felt the need to. That's Mama Joyce's way of saying she will always get involved, always protect her daughter in the way she sees fit, even when that protection looks like sabotage from the outside. That comment alone told us everything we needed to know. Mama Joyce has always had strong feelings about Todd, and she wasn't letting go of them anytime soon.
So when the official news broke that Kandi Burruss and Todd Tucker were getting a divorce, the internet exploded immediately. And not in a quiet, oh, that's sad way. No, this was chaos in digital form. Fans flocked to old episodes, old interviews, old reunion footage, and old social media posts, looking for clues like detectives opening cold cases. And the biggest theory that emerged almost instantly was that this divorce wasn't sudden at all. It was years in the making, hidden behind business ventures, brand building, keeping up public appearances, and of course, trying to avoid giving Mama Joyce the satisfaction of being able to say, "I told you so," loudly enough for the entire state of Georgia to hear it. But it didn't take long before another name was dragged into the chaotic storm, Phaedra Parks. As fans remembered, she was the one who introduced Todd and Kandi in the first place. Clips resurfaced of Phaedra joking that she could have choked herself for introducing Kandi to someone who wasn't part of Atlanta's elite, especially when she believed Kandi could have had her pick of high-status men. And while she said it jokingly, people have pointed out that many jokes contain at least a little bit of truth. Fans started to wonder if Phaedra had unintentionally created a long-term problem in Kandi's life, and whether Mama Joyce had been holding a quiet grudge against her all this time. And according to some insiders, that's exactly what happened. It's rumored that Mama Joyce always felt Phaedra should have introduced her daughter to someone with more money or more prestige, someone she wouldn't have to question or evaluate like a potential scammer at every family dinner. And here's where things get even more layered. Mama Joyce's distrust of Todd was never something casual or temporary. She accused him of being a gold digger from day one, saying he was only with Kandi because of her money and her success. Even when Todd proposed and made plans for their wedding, Mama Joyce was vocal in her disapproval. She said Todd had nothing substantial to offer and that Kandi could do far better. She even went as far as telling Kandi she would choke her if she dared walk down that aisle without a prenup that protected every bit of wealth Kandi earned before meeting him. That prenup became a major storyline and an even bigger source of friction between Todd, Mama Joyce, and eventually between Todd and Kandi themselves. By the time the prenup negotiations began, tensions were so high that Kandi and Todd were already arguing before the wedding day even arrived. One of the most debated clauses, and reportedly the one Todd hated the most, was a requirement that if the marriage ended, he would have only 30 days to move out of their shared home. It was a clause that spoke volumes about Mama Joyce's distrust and Kandi's desire to protect herself, and for Todd it felt like stepping into a marriage already labeled as temporary. But here is where things get even more layered. Kandi throughout the marriage had often defended Todd. She used to proudly say that marrying him was one of the best choices she ever made. She would even openly talk about the intimate side of their relationship, saying that they kept things spicy, that they communicated well, and that they experimented with threesomes without letting jealousy or insecurity destroy anything. She would emphasize that their relationship worked because they knew how to talk through things, collaborate, and build something solid together. And from the outside looking in, it often seemed like they had found a rhythm that worked for them. But when fans began digging up interviews, videos, and moments from the past few years, a different picture emerged, one that suggested the marriage had actually been faltering long before anyone knew it. There were subtle signs, strained body language, awkward exchanges, differences in priorities,
disagreements about business decisions, and even moments where Kandi seemed frustrated while Todd appeared distant. These little signals, when viewed individually, seemed like normal marital struggles. But when fans began watching them all back to back, they started to look like symptoms of deeper issues that were never fully resolved. And now we get to the divorce itself, and why it has turned so messy so fast. According to reports, Todd is refusing to be the one to file first because he plans to seek alimony. In Georgia, the spouse with the significantly higher income can absolutely be required to financially support the other after divorce. And Kandi, with her multi-million-dollar businesses, does indeed earn significantly more. Todd, on the other hand, reportedly doesn't have stable housing at the moment after selling his New Jersey apartment, which could strengthen his claim for temporary financial assistance. But the biggest twist? Todd is allegedly preparing to seek full custody of their children, even though Kandi requested joint custody. This is the moment fans began asking whether this divorce was about to become a full-scale legal war, because custody battles can turn even the calmest divorces into all-out battlefield situations, and this one already has so many layers of tension built into it that adding custody disputes could make everything explode.
And just when the public thought the drama reached its peak, an ex-girlfriend of Todd named Mila supposedly resurfaced to stir the pot even more. She claimed Todd dumped her for Kandi, that he called Kandi a trick because of her money, and that he wanted to position himself in Atlanta's social scene. Now, whether this story holds any truth or not, the timing was suspicious enough to get people talking. It played right into the narrative Mama Joyce had been pushing for years, that Todd was simply after Kandi's wealth and opportunities. Fans reacted in every direction. Some said the marriage was always more of a business partnership than a romantic union, especially once they started building brands, restaurants, and joint ventures. Others sympathized with Todd, saying no one could survive a decade of constant disrespect from their mother-in-law. Many pointed out that Mama Joyce's concerns seemed less like protection and more like greed, especially since she often talked about money more than anything else. And then there were those who said 11 years is still something to respect, that not all marriages last forever, and that Kandi and Todd should be celebrated for building businesses, raising children, and making it work for as long as they did. But the biggest opinion shared across social media? That Mama Joyce would never have accepted Todd no matter what he did, how much he tried, how successful he became, or how many years he stayed married to her daughter. Some fans said that even if Kandi and Todd had stayed married for 30 years, Mama Joyce would still end every conversation with, "I told you something wasn't right about him." The aftermath raises several questions that fans continue to debate. Will Kandi respond directly? Will Todd choose to share his perspective? And what does Phaedra hope to accomplish by sharing this information now? These questions linger because the story isn't finished. The emotional effects, the shifting public perspectives, and the revived interest in long-standing family dynamics all suggest that this revelation may influence future episodes, interviews, and even cast relationships. One thing is certain: this moment will be remembered as one of the most intriguing turning points in modern Housewives history. And there you have it. Phaedra Parks' shocking revelation, Kandi Burruss's calculated composure, and Todd Tucker emerging as the unexpected victim in a drama that continues to unfold. But now, we want to hear from you. Was Phaedra justified in bringing this information to light, or did she cross a line by exposing private family matters? Do you believe Todd has quietly suffered more than anyone realized? And how do you think Kandi should move forward after all of this? Share your thoughts, theories, and reactions in the comments below. The conversation is far from over. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest updates from the ever-evolving world of reality TV. And don't forget to share this video with your friends who live for Housewives drama. Trust me, they'll want to see this. Because in the world of reality TV, the story never truly ends, and the next shocking moment is always closer than you think.